Well, thank you, Russell, for sitting down with me. My name is WizThrift. I do these interviews with people. And do you want to give a little introduction of yourself?
My name's Russel Bartek. I play Flynn on Venture Forth, a D&D podcast, where we're having a lot of fun with with a crazy story that we have going on. Other than that, I live in LA and I'm an actor, and we all kind of are out here in LA and kind of filming this thing during the pandemic, and it's been a lot of fun. So I'm excited to keep going through this story, and I'm excited for everyone to listen to it. It's been a blast so far.
That's awesome. It is fantastic. We're only on episode 5 and what people are released to, but by the time this interview goes out, probably like episode 8 or 9. So
who knows?
Maybe it'll be some crazy stuff. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, my sponsor, this is, I work with a small company called the Dungeon Forge, and we make all types of D&D miniatures, shirts, we sell dice, and adventures. I'm the head writer for there, and so if you get the chance, definitely check it out. We have some pretty cool stuff.
Right on.
Awesome. Sweet. Well, let's just jump right into it. So,
definitely.
What is kind of your origins of role-playing games? How did you get started?
Oh boy. Well, I think it's probably similar to a lot of people. I'm from Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And so when I was living in Pittsburgh, going to college, I watch YouTube videos just like everyone else. And I can't remember the YouTube channel or who it was, but I remember seeing someone do a D&D game for someone on YouTube. And, I started listening to podcasts and started watching shows and just kind of got into the whole scene of Dungeons and Dragons. And, I probably listened to some stuff for probably 2 years, because I was living in Pittsburgh. I didn't really know how to get started. And I mean, I've talked to a lot of people that, are starting out with D&D, and it is overwhelming. And I can remember that side of it, even vaguely. I still remember being like, oh, geez, there's so many things you got to do. So I just kind of listened and had fun with it. And I ended up moving to LA for acting. And I think one of the shows I was watching, kind of their campaign ended. And I was like, oh crap, what am I going to do now? I have no more shows to listen to. I have no more D&D to listen to. I was like, wait, I'm in LA. I'm sure there's something out here that I can get into. And lo and behold, I found a shop. This is in the before times when we were able to go out. I found a shop that did Adventures League games. It was like a weekly thing. Mm-hmm. And you basically just paid $5 a month and you could go in and play with a bunch of people. Wow. So that's kind of how I got my start into D&D. And I started playing AL. And honestly, man, it was so great because I met people that I'm still friends with today. And I still play with some of those people. And that was maybe 2-3 years ago.
Wow.
And those were like my first friends that I've made when I was out here in LA. And obviously I made other friend groups. But those people I still played the game with, because we ended up transitioning over to homebrew just because we wanted to stay as a group. And with the rules at the store, they kind of you had to move around to play with other people, which is fine. Yeah. But I really liked the people that I was playing with. So we ended up, hey, let's just go to someone's house and let's play some homebrew. And we've been in over a year-long campaign now. And it's just been a blast. And that's kind of how I got into D&D, I guess. Wow. Hopefully that's what you're looking for.
No, that's awesome. Is that group the same as Venture Forth, or is that just a separate group?
No, that's actually a separate group. I met the group from Venture Forth. I'm friends with Shane and Rebecca and Ethan as well. I met Shane and Rebecca through acting, actually. Nice. Little workshops that we did, and we ended up talking about D&D while we were waiting for things to happen in the workshop. And one thing led to another. I met Ethan on the Adventures League game, actually, from that table. We never played together, but maybe here and there. But we kind of all got together and started playing, and that's kind of how that group got together. We just started playing for fun, and someone brought up, hey, let's do a podcast. And I was like, I'm down. Let's do it.
That's awesome. That's super cool. Wow. And so how did you guys start bringing in everybody else into the Venture Forth podcast?
So Cameron and Bridget were kind of friends of the friends. So they kind of were brought in as well. And is, kind of just worked itself out, and just grabbed some friends from the friend group and just became what it is now, which is, it's doing great. I'm loving it. It's such a fun campaign.
Yeah, that's really cool. You guys mentioned after the final roll that there have been other one-shots and other campaigns. How long have you all been playing together?
Well, because of the pandemic, it kind of put a stopper in things for about a year. Right before the pandemic started, right around February, we were planning on starting our campaign for Venture Forth. And And then everyone got on lockdown, and we were like, okay, well, let's wait it out. Maybe it's going to be a few months, like everyone was thinking. And that happened to not be the case. So we ended up just doing a bunch of one shots. And, then we started transitioning into a campaign where we played just random characters that we wanted to make. And I played this like dwarf Galtir, and I had a shitty Scottish accent, terrible Scottish accent, but I had fun with it. And it was a really cool character. And we kind of just did that through not Roll20, but like just online in general. We just played like basically like this, like Zoom meetings and Google Hangouts and stuff. And so we played for a year during the pandemic, and it got to a point recently. This year we were like, hey, let's just start it. Let's just start recording it. And so we did, and it ended up being where it is. So I'd probably say I've been playing with this group for probably about a year, maybe a little bit over.
Okay, that's awesome. Do you have a favorite part of Dungeons and Dragons, or just like role-playing games in general?
Well, I think it's shifted, because originally when I started playing, from the shows I was watching, I really liked the immersive aspect of D&D. I think that was amazing. And then when I started playing myself, I think it might have also just been because it's Adventures League, and from my experience, Adventures League is very focused on like getting through the thing. Getting combat is a big thing with Adventures League. From my experience, it may not be for everyone's, but from my experience, combat was huge in Adventures League. So myself, I love the strategy of it, and it's weird because I'm playing a character in Venture Forth that's like doesn't really know how strategy works, and it's really weird for me to like separate myself. But essentially, when I first started, I liked the strategy and the combat, and like, oh, what can I do? I played a paladin, because I was like, I want to be able to do everything, and I think that's something that a lot of newer players, I guess, it happens to them. Is like, I want to make sure I'm good at everything. I want to make sure I don't suck at intelligence saving throws or strength saving throws or charisma saving throws. So that's what I was trying to do with my paladin. And then I started realizing after that game is like, it's okay to suck at things, because it's that's when your party gets to come in and save the day, and it's more of a team thing and not like a solo thing. After a while, I started shifting into the RP side of it, and now that's kind of where I'm at, where I like the RP side of it, because you can run up and hit things with your sword, but it's way more interesting to describe how you do it, and it immerses you in it way more. And that's what I like about the podcast, is that like we kind of focus on that like aspect of RP, because like D&D is all about telling a story, right? Yeah, there is the fun side of it where you get to do the combat and do crazy crit rolls and like smashing down on an enemy and one-shotting them, but it's also a story, and I love that aspect of it, being able to tell your own story.
That's fantastic. You have this amazing passion when you're talking about it. How do you feel that your career and your choices as an actor have influenced you as a player?
Well, I think that's why I maybe like the RP side of it so much, that role-playing side. And that's maybe just a very basic answer, but I think that's pretty true. It's like when I'm acting, you're playing a different character, you're trying to understand where they're coming from. And I get to do that in D&D. And that's something else that I really liked about D&D, is you can practice your improv, you can practice acting, you can act, obviously, while you're playing D&D. And so that's kind of been my way to really keep doing it. And it's so fun, because like as an actor, I like playing Flynn and just being that super optimistic character that just loves everything about adventuring, and it's fun to dive into that. And I think that's the actor side of me wanting to do that,
You go on with what you just said with Flynn. He is an insanely optimistic character. That's one of the things that people love about him, or are annoyed about him.
Yep, as I've heard.
But I've also noticed that when it comes to combat, he's kind of ruthless, and he's very protective. Is there something, like, obviously if you can't say it, is there something just about combat that makes him go into that state, or is that just he's just protecting people?
I think it's probably part of his backstory, and part of just his experiences, being a halfling, being part of this ruthless crew of monster hunters. Which you'll learn more about in the coming episodes. He sees the side of being that person that's different. And I talked about this before. It's kind of like he knows that he's not the norm for the Ironlight Collective. He knows that he's not looked at as like he can do it. And he's lived with that, being a small halfling a lot of his life. And he's also seen that in some of his backstory, which will probably come to light eventually. But to stay kind of vague, Yeah, I think the protective side of it comes from just his experiences of, I don't like bullies. I've dealt with them, and I know what that feels like. And I think a lot of us know what that feels like, being bullied, being put down. So he wants to make sure he can lift everyone up, and protect them from being sad. Yeah. That's kind of the basis of it, and it just.
No, that's super awesome. Do you think that, does he struggle kind of with depression and things like that, and that's why he is outwardly optimistic, or is that just who he is, without going too much into your backstory?
Yeah, I don't think it's a depression. I don't think he's sad necessarily. I just think that he's seen it and it's happened to him before, not in a sense where it's been like character changing. It's just it's part of his backstory, is like knowing, people get picked on, and he's seen it happen without going into too much. And so he just knows that, like, it sucks, and it's more of like I'm here for you, rather than like I'm sad about it. It's like, I understand that, and I want to help. So that's kind of where it comes from. Hopefully that helps.
No, that does help a lot. That's really awesome. I love that you are this insanely optimistic character in D&D. And I think that's really awesome, because there's a lot of times where everybody's just an edgelord, or they just want to be this super hardcore person. But I think we need happy people in the games. I think that is something that people are leaning more towards. They're like, okay, I don't have to have dead parents. I can have friends and family, and I can be happy.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I was going for, because I've played a lot of those characters that are like super serious. Like my paladin that I played, my first character, he was this vengeance paladin that, I guess he was still kind of like off the norm, but he was definitely a serious character. Yeah. And that's kind of how a lot of characters go. Maybe I do lead, because like now that I'm thinking about it, the other AL character, I played a wizard, and it lived in the Underdark because it was a deep gnome, and it was just excited to go up to the surface world and explore. So I guess maybe that's a trope that I have, is like playing those characters that are just excited to adventure, because I feel like maybe that's part of myself. I always thought adventuring and traveling and going to see the world and explore and see different cultures and societies, that really interests me. And maybe just because I'm not rich, I can't go out and do that. I can't go to Bali on the weekends. So maybe that's how I escape, is I play my characters like that. Who knows? Maybe that's what it is. But I always thought that's a very interesting side of it, because, these kind of stories are so exciting and fun to listen to and like be a part of. Going on these grand adventures, Lord of the Rings, that kind of stuff. Like all that stuff is super exciting to listen to. So why not be excited to go on an adventure and take a quest? And maybe that's why I play those characters that way. I think I may have tangented off your topic a little bit.
You're
but hopefully
fine.
I stayed.
No, this is what I want. I
love it. Okay, good.
Yeah, I want to just hear and listen to people talk about what they love. So
awesome.
You can tangents are good, as long, like, obviously you gotta focus a little bit, but no, tangents are good. Tangents are good.
Cool.
That's awesome. I love the idea of a halfling fighter, and there's one thing that was mentioned in an episode or something. Flynn, I think he said that he's not strong enough yet to wield a greatsword. Is that one of his goals, to get stronger physically?
I don't know. I think Flynn, the way I built him, is to be that different side. When I was talking with Ethan, our DM, and I was like, I want to play a halfling fighter, but I don't want him to be super strong, because for me, in my mind, he's like a smaller creature, like physically. So like he shouldn't be able to lift a boulder that a Goliath has trouble lifting. I know magic is a thing, but in my mind, I was like, I want to play that other side of it. I want to play that fighter that uses their dexterity and uses their nimbleness and maybe a little bit of luck to solve their problems. And I thought that was very different, because when I was looking up fighter subclasses, I was like, a lot of fighter subclasses focus on strength mostly. I mean, some of them do dexterity as well, but a lot of them are like a strength. You use the greatsword. I want to take it a different way. Like I want to just use that short sword and a shield, and I want to see if I can do it, because that's what Flynn wants to do. It's like, I'm not as strong as a Goliath, but I have heart, and that's what's going to take me through. I have that perseverance.
Yeah, and you could do it, Flynn. You go, man. You got this.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
No, that really is. Just one or two more questions about Flynn. So
sure.
I was listening.
I could talk about Flynn all day, man. So
I know.
Go for it.
I was listening to Session Zero because I realized that they're on your Patreon, and so I was like, I'm a patron. I'm gonna listen to them. And so when you wrote down Shreya's name, you said Scary Bird, like right next to it. It is like, is Flynn scared of bigger creatures? Or is that just kind of like because he's small and this is a new person?
I think it was more with Shreya that he was something he's never seen before. Okay. I don't think it was a bad thing. Maybe he was a little intimidated at first. Like, what is this huge bird-like creature? Is it going to eat me? And it might have just been a jokey thing too. Like, scary bird, he's scary. Yeah. But I mean, there are people that, and you'll probably find out, again, I'm going to keep saying this, but you're probably going to find out in later episodes, there are people that have control over Flynn's emotions. Not many, but I don't think the size of a creature is something that scares him. I think he's very resilient because he had to be, right? Growing up and like being a halfling, in his backstory, it's like he knew that he's a smaller person and people might take advantage of that. So he learned to cope with it and, put up walls when he needs to. So I don't think bigger creatures scare him. I think, he's done a good job of learning how to, be okay with everyone. Now that he has all this training from Ironlight Collective, I think he's got a decent amount of confidence too that has really helped push him through now that he's part of an adventuring party. Yeah, and quite the adventuring party, if I do say so. A lot of interest. We've been doing okay. We've had some stumbles, but I think we're gonna make it. Yeah. No, in episode 5, you guys just leveled up. You guys just were taking the cursed elf and about to take him away and stuff, and so. Yeah, no, I love it. I love the drama. The audio is fantastic. The music, it's all extremely well done. Man, Shane would love for you to say that because he works so hard, and we try and help every way we can. But I'm sure he'll love hearing that because he really does a lot to make sure it sounds good. No, so it's great to hear that it does. Like the theme song. Especially is it's beautiful and it's pretty good. Yeah, it's fantastic. I think that a big part of making a good podcast is having good audio, and I really think you guys have it down. It's part of the immersion, right? It really does help because like I've listened to podcasts and watched shows that don't have audio, and while their story is very good, like that upbeat song during combat really gets you in the mood. It's kind of like when working out and you listen to a good podcast, like it gets you in the mood to get through that last rep or whatever it is for that run, putting on that music. It's like it really does help carry you through a combat session or immerses you in that role play experience. So I 100% agree that good music really does help make a session, even if you're just playing at home, like for homebrew, like having someone play some tunes, so good. Yeah, it is kind of an art form as a dungeon master to be able to get the tunes right. Oh yeah. And it's like I've had times when I'm being dungeon master and I have this playlist, all of a sudden like I didn't realize the song is over and it goes to a happy song when we were just in a scary thing. I'm like, oh no. That happens with everyone though. That happens with everyone, Yeah. And so in my games, it's a lot because you're dealing with a lot of stuff too. I don't have as much experience with DMing, but the games that I have done and used music for, it's hard to keep because you're like controlling all these NPCs and you're controlling maybe a combat encounter. And then it's like, okay, now I got to change the music. It's like, crap, I forgot to change the song because now they're on the wagon going wherever. And it's like, God. The wagon playlist. Of course, wagon sounds, right? Spotify, whatever it is. Hey, wagons with Flynn and Shreya, that's... There was a wagon in the Session Zero, so... Yeah, where was our wagon track? Ethan, he's dropping the ball. I can't believe it. Don't say that, man. No. He's awesome. I don't want to be Kill Flynn. No, he's a fantastic DM. From what I've heard. He really is, yeah. He's been doing a great job with this story and making this world. it's been a blast just going through it and, you know, picking his brain about what's going on.
There's lots of intrigue, and I think like just the first episode when that ghostly woman took over the dead body. Spoiler, sorry people, spoiler for the 5 people that are gonna watch this. And I was like, oh dang, like this is setting up something pretty crazy. So
yeah, that was a interesting moment, and it did kind of have an effect on the party because we were very new. And some of them wanted to follow that thread. And Flynn already had kind of a mission, definitely not his first,
of course.
No, he's seasoned, to do something else. So it was a very interesting moment to like connect the party and say, hey, we can take care of this. And, you know, it is something important to look into, but we have something else to take care of that's really more pressing. So it was a very interesting moment for us as a party. And I think Ethan did a great job, you know, throwing that in there, because it was a cool moment to be like, oh crap, like the party wants to go separate ways already on, I believe, session 1. And it was it was a cool moment, you know, to see how we could solve that problem of keeping the party together so early.
No, and actually going off of session 1, when it started at Cold Crest Outpost, and it was Ethan and Calic, I don't know, his Shane. Yeah, Shane. It was Ethan and Shane. And I was like, is this like a scripted, like,
it was so good,
because I was surprised, because even like big ones like Critical Role and Adventure Zone and all this stuff, they don't have like that type of production value all the time.
Oh man!
And so I was like, geez, this
the praise, I can't take it, man. I appreciate it.
And that's what got me hooked. I was hooked right from episode 1, the first like 10 minutes, and so yeah.
Well, it's great to hear you say that, but I felt the same way. I couldn't believe, you know, he was like, it was so good.
Yeah,
it was so good. Like I don't know if it was scripted. I haven't asked him.
No, I don't think it was.
I don't think it was.
No,
I think he had an idea what to say.
Obviously,
but he's an actor as well. A lot of us are actors and actresses in the group, and you know that just it was so good to see him like really just off the bat. I think Ethan did mention like, hey, we're gonna start with you. And that's all he really got. Oh man, it was really good, and I'm glad that people like it. I'm glad you liked it, and it kind of brought you into it, because it was a very good start, I think.
Yeah, no, and I think that's really important. Is just the production value, the way you guys started. I think it all flows really well. So I would definitely give my praises to Ethan and the whole cast, because you guys are all fantastic. So.
Well, thank you, man. And I'll say thank you for them, because I'm sure if they watch this, I'm sure they're going to be wanting me to say thank you as well. But yeah, we really do appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Awesome. So, do you have a favorite class?
Oh boy. Oh man. What a question.
Just jumping right into it.
I don't know, man. I think no.
No, okay.
I think I have maybe favorite classes.
Okay.
It also depends, I think, when I started playing. Like when I started playing Paladin, man, I was a Paladin. I was like, I can heal, I can dump on people, I can just drop a smite and kill someone in one hit. I can cast spells, and I was like, this is the best class. And then I played a sorcerer, and I was like, oh, this is super fun, being able to use meta magic and mess around with that. I dove into cleric a little bit, and I was like, clerics are super versatile, especially now in 5th edition. You can do whatever you want as a cleric, and it's insane.
I think personally they're one of the best classes, because they
are.
You can class at level 1, like they're so good. Yeah. Anyway,
I think we talk a lot about this in Clubhouse. We have like a little group called D&D on Clubhouse, and we do a lot of rooms about this. And we've been doing a weekly room talking about each class. We do a deep dive into it, and I think we're doing Paladins next. But it's really interesting to dive into these classes and hear everyone's perspective and insight, because a lot of classes do have versatility. You know, most of them do, and most of them have the ability to be a full party of that class.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one, oh man, I don't want to say fighter, because that's what I'm playing on the podcast, but I think fighters, I like it because it's like you have the ability to be a tank, you have the ability to really magic be a magic user. You know, with Eldritch Knight, you can dip into, you have a lot of feats. So I think I like that class the most, just because you get short rest stuff, action surge, second wind. You get long rest stuff. If you go into spells, you get spells. You can go into Battle Master, which I played a Battle Master, and it's so fun. It's basically like a martial spellcaster. It's insane being able to like do all that cool stuff. I think I'd choose fighter, but I do have a special place in my heart for wizard, because I did play a really long campaign, and I got my wizard to 20, which was very exciting.
Oh my gosh! Congratulations! You deserve an award right there.
I mean, I did die, but I was brought back to life, and it was like a whole plot in the story. But yeah, it was super fun. I mean, wizard, they can be powerhouses, man. You get yourself a simulacrum. You get yourself mage staff of the mage or something.
Staff of the Magi.
Yeah, staff of the Magi, and then I think there was another one that I got, staff of power.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, geez.
So essentially, and this is a little bit of a tangent, but yeah, near 18th level, I had the staff of the Magi, and then I had a simulacrum that had the staff of power, and I had a backpack that essentially was a homebrew item that cast reduce on whatever jumped into it. So essentially I would have my simulacrum with a backpack, and I know this is completely a tangent, but he would have the backpack on, and I would actually jump in the backpack, and my simulacrum would carry me around and cast spells for me, and I would control him by like peeking out of the backpack. It was a freaking blast. But dude, the amount of spell work you had to do, like I have 90 spells that I can choose from at this moment, because you had 2 staffs that cast spells, and you had your spell list and your simulacrum spell list. It gets crazy, man. You can really do whatever you want, you know? So I think those are probably the 2. Fighter and wizard are probably the 2 that I really like. I am playing a druid as well, which is fun also. So.
I really think they're like, I asked that because like I love to hear people's opinions on it. It's funny that you chose a fighter and a wizard, literally the 2 most opposite classes. But
you're right.
I think there's just, it doesn't matter what class you play, as long as you have a good story and you're trying to have fun and be helpful for the party. I don't think it matters. I think every class is fantastic. People they hate rangers. I'm like, dude, rangers are great. Like they can be awesome. So
Beast Companion is pretty cool. And I mean, all it takes is a little bit of a homebrew to make something really, really work. I'm one of the DMs that I play in a game. He has like a whole special thing for ranger that makes it amazing. And I mean, it also just depends on how you play it. Exactly.
And it also kind of depends on the campaign, because if you're in a wilderness survival campaign, rangers is going to be the best class right there.
Yeah.
But that's awesome.
It's a very good point.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite race?
Halfling. I love halfling. I love playing those little like happy-go-lucky, and I know that like things are now changing to like, you know, any race can be whatever you want it to be. You can be an orc and be happy-go-lucky. You can be a halfling and be happy-go-lucky. You can be a very serious halfling. But I think just based on the rules in the book and the way that I've read it in the book, I kind of grew. And I mean, with Hobbit, you know, the Hobbit.
Yep.
I love that party side. And I also just think that like, you know, that's kind of who I am. I'm like one of those people that like wants to go out and like adventure and have a good time and, you know, go to a bar maybe and have a few drinks and, you know, have fun. So I think I relate to that class or that race. Even though like now kind of you can do whatever you want with whatever race. I would probably pick halfling. Also halfling luck. I mean, I know a lot of people hate it, but
no,
you can still roll a 2. So
that's fantastic. Okay, 2 more questions before we go, because I know you gotta kind of go, and we started a little late.
No worries.
Do you have a favorite monster? Or favorite monster to fight or to put in players if you're a dungeon master?
I think the monster I'm most afraid of, I can give you that really quick.
That works.
Beholders scare the hell out of me. My sorcerer I was talking about earlier got one shot by a beholder. Just, I think it was the disintegration ray or whatever it is. Like if it brings you below 0, you're just poof ashes. Or maybe misremembering that mechanic, but they're scary, man. They're scary regardless. Is that right?
If you hit 0, you're dead.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And I remember just being like, well, I'm dead. They scare me because like you can have a beholder that's, you know, tier 1, tier 2. You can have a beholder that's tier 3, tier 4, and you can homebrew it. And like those beams, they're terrifying no matter what level you are, because it can instantly mess you up, you know? And so that's something that I think maybe I respect beholders. And so let's say beholders, just because they scare me, because they are always terrifying in the layers. I mean, for fun, I love dragons. I think they're super cool.
Obviously.
Obviously. But I think those are the two that I think I respect the most and like the most. I mean, growing up as a kid, I read, what was it, Aragorn, watched Dragonheart. So like, I really wanted dragons to be real. I remember watching History Channel stuff about dragons and being like, they could have been real. And I'm like, yeah, they could have been. I know they're not, but
Wait, dragons aren't real?
no.
Russell.
I know. Listen, it's like hearing Santa Claus isn't real.
What?
Sorry, spoilers.
Ah, Mom!
I know, I'm just dropping truth bombs today. But yeah, I remember really liking dragons as a kid. I thought they were super cool. I wanted to be a dragon rider. So probably beholders and dragons are the two that I respect and like the most.
Okay, I'm gonna help Ethan create a beholder dragon.
Oh God, that would be epic and terrifying, which I'm down. And I'm pretty sure Flynn is down to fight it as a monster hunter that he is.
Level 2, you got it. You're good.
Hey, he's totally fine. He can do this.
Awesome. Okay, last question.
Sure, hit me with it.
And I love asking this question because it kind of helps me understand the kind of person you are. What is your favorite color?
It was red.
Okay.
But now it's orange.
Interesting.
I don't really know why. I think maybe it's because of sunsets. Maybe because it's like that warmth of the fire. It's cozy. Yeah. So I choose orange now. And yeah, I don't know what that says about me.
You know, it's definitely unique. So I think I gained a lot of information about you.
I'll take that. I'll take the uniqueness. That's great. That's great.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. Well, Russell, as we're ending here, is there anything you want to shout out or plug or other words for that?
Of course. Venture Forth, it's the podcast we've been talking about. So if anyone listening wants to check it out, Venture Forth DnD Podcast. You can go on any of the social media platforms, Venture Forth DnD, and check it out. We also have a Patreon if you want to subscribe to that. You mentioned that there's the session zeros on there. There's also level up videos that we're going to be putting up for whenever we level up. Our old podcast, or not podcast, but our old pre-campaign episodes are on there as well. So me playing Goldir with a terrible Scottish accent, if you want to hear that, you can go and jump on the Patreon and listen to all of those episodes that we have on there. But yeah, only if you want to. Mainly just go check out Venture Forth. I love it. It's been a great campaign so far, and I can't stop talking about it because I'm just having so much fun with it. So that's my plug. So
that's fantastic. No, and I love the way that you get so happy and excited when you talk about it.
It's great. It's just because it's fun. I love D&D. It's great.
No, it is fantastic. Awesome. Russell, thank you so much for sitting down with me. I truly appreciate it. You're fantastic. So also, you have a great beard, nice hair.
Oh hey, yeah. Thanks for the interview, man. This was really fun. I really had a lot of fun talking about Flynn, talking about D&D in general. I will also plug really quick the Clubhouse. If anyone's on Clubhouse, D&D on Clubhouse, jump on it. We have tons of rooms going on, discussion rooms, workshops, live games. So if you want to just do that as well, that's something else you can check out as well.
Awesome. Well, that's fantastic. Sweet. Well, thank you again. And I'm excited for next week's episode and for episodes going forward. And I hope Flynn never dies.
I hope so too, man. I hope so too. Tuesdays is when the episodes comes out, so check it out. But hopefully Flynn stays alive long enough for you to watch him.
Awesome.
Ethan, don't kill my character.
Awesome. Beholder Dragon, kill Flynn. Just kidding.
No Beholder Dragon.
Awesome. Sweet, dude. Well, thanks again, and I will talk to you later.
Right on, man. See you later. See you guys.